What is going on, guys? Elliot Burton here, and today I'm going to be talking you through everything you need to know to build your own personal brand. In my opinion, if you follow all of these steps, you will be able to build your own personal brand. And yeah, I thought it will be a really interesting video for you guys. I know a lot of you ask about how you can get more followers, how you can build your numbers on social media, and I thought I would address this in a direct and thorough manner. So I've planned out all the different steps that you need to take to build your personal brand. And yeah, these are the things that I've done to get to where I am today, and I hope that this can help you guys, or at least some of you guys, to do the same. So without further ado, let's jump straight into the video. So part one, step one, whatever you want to call it, is analyze yourself. You need to think about your strengths, your weaknesses. What do other people know you for? Have you got any skills? Are you the chatty one of your social group? Are you the funny one? Think about anything about yourself that could be built on, that you could write down as a strength. I'm sure you're going to have strengths that you can work with. So yeah, this is a really important one. It's really important that you actually think about yourself in this situation and what you can do with yourself moving forwards. So yeah, that is step number one. The next step is thinking about what your passions are, or what your passion is. Really think about what you enjoy doing, whether that's playing sport, art, drama, whatever it is. Think about your strengths and write them down. And that goes for the first step as well. Make sure you're writing down everything that you can think of. So your strengths, your weaknesses, things you enjoy, like all of these things, write them down so that you can go back to them later. But yeah, what do you enjoy doing? So one thing you can do as well is think about people that you know and think about things that they're doing, or not even just people you know, people that you know of. So that can be people on social media, just anyone. Thinking about what they're doing, like what they're doing for work, or things that they're doing specifically within that. So for example, with social media, you see people releasing certain kinds of products or whatever, like an Adobe Lightroom preset pack like I've done myself, and ask yourself, would you want to do that yourself? Like, could you see yourself doing that? And then write all that down. So think about things that you could see yourself doing in the future. This is really important as well, because this can help you with direction later on in the process when you're already on social media and you're posting and stuff. This can help you kind of fine tune where you want to take things, or like widen like the scope of what you're doing. So this is a really important one. Definitely try and have a good think about what you enjoy and what you could see yourself enjoying in the future. So yeah, that's the end of that one. Right, so step number three is about making a decision. This is where you need to think about what it is you want to be your main thing. So you've used step one and two to kind of figure out your strengths, your weaknesses, things you enjoy, things you could enjoy. And now it's time to really kind of refine that into what you could do on social media with your personal brand moving forward. So you need to kind of make a decision on what you want to be your main thing. So for example, if we look at me, my main thing is fitness. If we think about a general area that I operate in on social media, is fitness. As well as other areas, but the main one is fitness. And we'll touch on that later. But for now, it's just thinking about what you want your main thing to be, because it's important that you do have a main thing. Otherwise, if you have 3 or 4 things that you kind of cover equally, you'll spread yourself quite thin, and you'll find it difficult to either get new followers or retain the ones that you've got, because you're going to be posting stuff that some of them are interested in, some of them aren't, and it'll like be dependent on what you're posting at what time. And that just will make things a little tricky for you. So I would recommend that you have a main thing, and then other passions that you have which aren't quite as strong, or other strengths you have as well that aren't quite as big as this main one, you can kind of add on at a later date or integrate it less frequently. than the rest of your content. So yeah, you need to decide what you want to be your main thing. This needs to be off what you've written down in step 1 and 2, and not what you've seen other people doing. It's really important that you make this decision from what you have written down, because that means it's going to be a logical decision. You have sat down, assessed the things that you've written down, and made a rational decision that this is the best thing for you to be pursuing. A lot of the time emotion can get the better of you, and you can make decisions based on emotion rather than what's rational and what's not. Like, if it's not something that you're passionate about, or it's not something that's a strength of yours, then you really need to consider whether it's actually possible for it to work in the way that you want it to work. And if it's not, then you have to sit back and think, if that is actually what you want to do, what can you do to make it a strength of yours? What can you do to make it the rational decision to make? But anyway, I'm going off track. So what you need to do is just make a decision on what you want to be your main thing. That is it. It's really simple and very important. So once you made a decision, write that down and we can move on to the next step. The next step is really making your mark. You need to think about what it is that's going to make you stand out from the crowd. What is going to make your content stand above everyone else's? What is going to give you the recognition and exposure you need to grow your brand? The short answer of it is high quality, value giving content. You need to be giving value every single day and using high quality content to do so. It's just simple. It's what's going to stand out. People are going to pick out the content which looks crisp, looks sharp, and yeah, it just stands out. And that's really important. You need to really think about how you can stand out from the crowd. Just copying what someone else is doing or has done isn't going to help you stand out, because if anything, if you're doing something similar to them, their content is just going to be constantly above yours because they've been doing it for a while and they are good at it. Because if they weren't good at it, you wouldn't be trying to copy their stuff. So I think what's important here is you really think about what you can do differently and what you can do yourself to stand out from the crowd. This is a very important factor, and one that's really going to help you get to where you want to be. So yeah, definitely think a lot about this. Think about how you can stand out and go back to your strengths and your strengths, your weaknesses, your passion, and think about what elements of those you can use to increase the value that you're giving on a daily basis. So yeah, that's a really important one, and you definitely need to put some time and thought into this one. So again, make sure you're writing this stuff down. You want to be able to go back over it and really analyze everything, and then once you've done that, you can move on to the next step. The next step is changing your focus from how to get more followers to how to build a bigger community. This is really important. If your focus is just like getting more followers, getting more followers, getting more followers, you're just going to be thinking about the receiving end of this transaction, when really all you need to be doing is focusing on what you're giving. Why is someone going to follow you? Why are they going to stay following you? What value are you giving them? Because at the end of the day, that's what should be happening. For someone to give you their follow, you should be giving them something in return. So you really need to be focusing on building a community, because if you're giving them value, then that's going to naturally happen. You're going to have people there that are going to want to stay. They're going to want to see what the next thing you post is and hear about what you've been up to, because you're giving them so much value and they're invested in that. So it's really important that you focus on building your community. Your followers will build with that. If you're focusing on giving value and building a community, your numbers will grow automatically. So you don't need to focus so hard on that. Just think about how you can build your community and how you can build the value that you're giving every day. The next step is to be consistent, post every day, and really just like grind it out. You need to be prepared for a long journey. It's not going to happen overnight. You're just going to wake up one morning and have like 20k followers overnight. Like, it's going to be a slow but sure process. And it's really important that you just give it time. Don't jump to conclusions. Don't change what you're doing like every 10 minutes or change your focus, change your direction. Just stick it out and see how it goes. It's really important that you just create this plan, stick to it and see how it goes. That is really important, because if you just keep changing, you're never going to know what really works and what doesn't. You're just going to confuse yourself and not know what to do moving forward. So create a plan and stick to it. That's really important. Once you've done that and you've got a solid amount of content and data almost to analyze, you can then think about what worked well, what didn't work well, and start to fine tune the content that you're posting. If you see something that's doing really, really well, then post more of that. That's obviously what your followers and your audience want to see more of. They're engaging with it, so do more of that. If you've got other things that you can see starting to do well or building up, then again, introduce more of that. Focus on what does well and push from that, because that's what's going to help you with your growth and the development of your community. So again, just use that information that you've created after a good amount of time putting the work in, posting every day, and analyze it and figure out what's working well and what's not. And then you can sort of like take your next steps forward. Whether that's left, whether that's right, will be dependent on the results of the previous weeks and months, but it's really important that you do that as well. So analyze what you've been doing, have a look at what's been doing well, what's not been doing well, and kind of retune your content. Right, so that's pretty much everything that you need to know when it comes to building your personal brand. If you follow those steps, then I really believe that you can develop your personal brand and get to where you want to be. There is one more thing that I've written down here, and that is stay humble, work hard, and just stay true to yourself. Like, don't start to slack because you're starting to grow quicker and you're getting more followers and you're starting to feel a bit more confident and you think you're the bee's knees. Don't get ahead of yourself with this whole game. Like, at the end of the day, you are the person that you were when you started it, and you got to keep it that way. You're no different. Just because numbers on a screen might make you feel a certain way, doesn't mean you're any different to anyone else in the world, doesn't mean you're above anyone else. And never let what you're doing change the way you think about things in that sense. Don't think you're above anyone, because you're not. And I think that's really important. Just stay humble, stay true to yourself, and you'll do great, because people will see if you change, and people won't like that, because no one likes an arsehole, no one likes someone who thinks they're better than everyone else. So don't become that guy because you think, oh, I've got X amount of followers, so I'm like the bee's knees. I think it's just important to stay true to yourself, and it'll all be sweet. But yeah, that is everything that I've got for this topic. I really hope you guys find it helpful. I thought a lot about each individual point, and I just think it would be great to see some of you guys putting them into action. If you've got any questions about it, make sure you drop a comment in the comment section below. I'll be happy to answer them. And yeah, I think I'm going to leave it here. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks, guys.